and my mother would ride her Shetland pony, starting at the age of 4, all the way to Bishop Airport to watch the airplanes take off and land. My grandfather Ludwig would have to take the back seat out of the 1939 Buick Roadmaster and drive to the airport to pick up my mother and the pony in the car. This became a regular routine and not necessarily to his liking. Her love of aviation started very young and it continues today. Betty stretched the truth a little bit about her age to start flying at 14. Her license still holds the secret. She worked many jobs and bought a Cessna 140 at the age of 17. By the age of 19, she was Michigan's highest rated young female pilot. Betty raised Carl, and they were very close. When Carl was about 6 years of age, she started taking him flying. She would practice spins, loops, lazy eights, and other maneuvers. Carl acted as the lookout for other planes and often fell asleep during these maneuvers. Wow, what a trusting set of parents to allow their 15-year-old daughter to babysit her 6-year-old brother by learning complicated aerial maneuvers in a plane. My guess is they probably didn't know all the details. Betty started teaching Carl how to fly at the age of 16. She often said he was a fantastic student and never forgot anything he was taught. She also said he was the most relaxed student she ever taught, and she taught many people how to fly, being a CFI for many years. That quality would serve him well in Southeast Asia. Carl was the 4-year class president of Holly High School class in 1960. He was a leader both in school and on the athletic field, although he was not necessarily fond of certain types of bookwork. That wasn't his forte. During this time, Carl applied to be accepted into the Air Force Academy, which he was. He again established himself and was one of the only few pilots allowed to fly his F-105 to Thailand from the U.S. upon graduation. Once in country, that is in Vietnam and Thailand, Carl quickly passed senior leadership officers to become a flight leader himself. He amassed more time over Hanoi than any other pilot in any branch of the U.S. military. He was the youngest pilot to shoot down a MiG-17. His air medals are too numerous to mention at this time, but they do include the Distinguished Flying Cross, which is the Air Force's second highest medal. Carl completed 100 missions, and he re-upped for another 100, which was unheard of. No one did that. Once they flew their 100, there was a big party and they rode off into the sunset. He didn't do that. He re-upped for another 100, and he was accepted for another 100 due to his leadership skills. He was officially killed on his 198th mission, although his fellow pilots all recognized it was more than likely his 212th mission, because he had a habit of forgetting to log in some of his missions from time to time. He wanted to stretch out his time. His goal was to re-up again as a forward air observer, knowing that the brass probably wouldn't allow him a third active combat duty role. He wanted to accomplish 300 missions. That was his total number he was going for. This forwards us to the present. It brings our family great pleasure every year as the Carl Richter Award is presented to another fine example of a young man possessing the same qualities that Carl had. It is the highlight of our annual Memorial Day observance at Holly Cemetery. One last note, my mother Betty flew in from Florida today to be here at this important recognition. She lives in the Florida Keys on a boat, still scuba dives, and is a hard act to follow, to say the least. In case you're wondering, she's still flying at 84 years of age. In fact, she just got back from a trip with Carl's daughter, Carla, and her husband, Tracy. Tracy's also a pilot, and they flew Carla and Tracy's Beechcraft Bonanza for 2 weeks around the western states. One of the stops they made was in Texas at the annual reunion for F-105 pilots. At that reunion, Carl is vividly remembered as a comrade and a fellow pilot from all of his pilots from Vietnam. They haven't forgotten like we haven't, and our family certainly appreciates everything that the community does to honor Carl and all our veterans. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty. Our next speaker is Pat McKinney, who is going to talk to us about how the award came about.
Good evening, and Marty, you're a tough act to follow. I was going to say all that, but you said it much better. The other thing I'd like to mention is somehow, to me, very fitting and proper. We're gathered here tonight at the Carl Richter campus on Pearl Harbor Day with our veterans. Thank you for your service. Sorry, welcome. As Marty mentioned, Carl was killed in action in 1967, July 28th. That's when his classmates, the class of 1960, which he was president of for 4 years in high school, sprung into action. The Carl Richter Award was established and first awarded in May of 1968. Every year since then, the Carl Richter Award has been presented to a male member of the Holly High School class. And this Memorial Day will be the 50th year, which speaks volumes about the class of 1960 and for sustaining the award and their affection for their classmate. And people say, come to town, they visit, and they say, this Carl Richter campus, what's that all about? This Carl Richter Award, what's that all about? And I say, really, to grab the essence, what that means to people of Holly, the Holly community, you have to go to the Memorial Day service at the Lakeside Cemetery. And during that service, someone will step forward, usually one of Carl's classmates, speak a few words about Carl, and present the award to the deserving young man. And be observant, first of all, the number of people who turn out. No matter what the Michigan Mother deals us, people show up for this. And as a young man receives his award, he does it with humility and pride. This is something special. His family will observe his recognition, and they'll be very prideful that their young man, their family member, has received this award. And last but not least, stay after. Watch the young man as his classmates, family, friends greet him, congratulate him. But total strangers will walk up to him and congratulate him. This is what the Carl Richter Award means to the people of Holly. And we owe this all a debt of gratitude to the class of 1960. Carl's class. He was their leader. And I heard one of his classmates say one time, Carl was our leader. He led us in those things that are approved by the school and those things that weren't approved by the school. And on behalf of the Holly community, I would like to thank the class of 1960 for sharing their classmate with us, for establishing the Carl Richter Award, for sustaining the Carl Richter Award, and being the driving force behind naming this campus for Carl Richter. Thank you.
Now we turn to the other plaque that we are going to dedicate tonight, Robert S. Brumler. I would like to say a few things personally. I don't have it laying down there, but in addition to being the father of Veterans Day, Robert Brumler created 2 of these Memorial Record Holly Area Veterans books. One was done in 1955, the other was done in 1995 and 96. These are outstanding books. They're not books like like chapter after chapter. What they are is a record of people who served in Holly, starting with World War II. And each chapter, or each book begins with the Gold Star Boys, those who didn't come back. Now, I know a little bit about this because this book, the second one, I helped Bob type. And I have to admit, his enthusiasm and his energy was really infectious. I do want to relate a couple stories about these books. Bob was relentless. He chased people down to get their stories.